Listen up, humans. That modest $500,000 starter home you're doom-scrolling on Zillow? It's not a house, it's a math trap.
You ever find yourself doom-scrolling Zillow late at night? You see a house with, beige carpet, maybe some countertops from 2003, and the agent has the nerve to call it a starter home for $500,000. You sit there doing the mental gymnastics wondering, has the entire world lost its mind? Well, for today's explainer, we are going to dive headfirst into that feeling.
And I want to say this right up front. It's not you. You're not crazy. It's the math. We're going to break down the cold, hard numbers behind a $500,000 home, and, well, it's brutal. So let's run the numbers together and see just how bad it really gets.
So the real question we're trying to answer is this. Who can actually afford a house at this price? And I'm not talking about who a bank will give a loan to. I'm talking about who can own this house without their life becoming a constant financial stress simulator. And believe me, there is a huge difference.
Okay, first, let's get on the same page about what we're even talking about. In dozens of cities across the US right now, $500,000 doesn't get you a mansion. We're talking about a modest, maybe 1,200 square foot starter home. This is the new reality.
So you've got this massive disconnect. We're asking people who earn the median household income, that's around $84,000 a year, to somehow come up with the money for a home that costs almost 6 times what they make in a year. If that sounds completely bonkers to you, it's because it is.
All right, so let's actually do the math. What does owning this house really cost you every single month? And we're going to go way beyond just that simple mortgage payment. We're going to build the whole picture, piece by painful piece.
First up, the big one. Let's just say you somehow managed to scrape together a 10% down payment, which, by the way, is $50,000 in cash. So, on the loan for the other $450,000, with interest rates hovering around 6.5%, your principal and interest alone is going to be about $2,850 a month. But we are just getting started.
Next, you got to add in property taxes. Now, this changes a lot depending on where you live, but a pretty conservative estimate would add another $500 to your monthly bill. It's a huge, huge expense that a lot of first-time buyers just don't see coming.
Then there's homeowners insurance. And let me tell you, this number has been going through the roof lately thanks to all the fires and floods and crazy storms. So let's go ahead and tack on another $300 a month for that.
And now for the one that everybody, and I mean everybody, forgets, maintenance. Things break. The rule of thumb is you need to budget about 1% of your home's value every year for repairs. So on our house, that's $5,000 a year, which breaks down to $417 every single month that you need to set aside for when that water heater inevitably decides to explode.
And finally, because we only put 10% down instead of 20%, we get hit with PMI, private mortgage insurance. This is basically a tax you pay for the crime of not being rich. It protects the bank, not you, and it adds, you guessed it, another $300 a month to the pile.
So, let's add it all up. Are you ready for this? When you put together the mortgage, taxes, insurance, maintenance, and that lovely PMI, the real all-in monthly cost to live in this starter home is a staggering $4,367. And that's if everything goes right.
So what in the world do you have to earn to support a payment like that? We can actually figure it out. Let's work backwards from that monthly cost using some standard financial rules. And this is so important to understand. You have 2 different rules. A good financial advisor will tell you that to be financially healthy, your housing costs shouldn't be more than 28% of your gross income. But the bank? They'll often approve you for a loan as long as all your debt is under 43%, which is a much riskier way to live.
So, if we follow that responsible 28% rule, to comfortably afford a monthly housing bill of over $4,300, your household needs to bring in a gross annual income of $187,000. Let that sink in for a second.
So how many American households does that leave out? Well, this chart really tells the whole story. Only about 10 to 20% of all households in the U.S. earn over $150,000. That means, by any reasonable financial standard, 80 to 90% of Americans are completely and totally priced out.
But we all know people are still buying these houses. So what happens when you stretch for it? When you ignore that 28% rule and become house poor? Let's talk about the human cost behind these numbers.
So let's meet the Johnsons.
They make a combined $160,000 a year, a great income. After taxes, they bring home about $9,500 a month. Okay, now subtract our housing cost. Then subtract all the other essentials, car payments, student loans, groceries, and they are left with just over $1,500 for everything else. Savings, an emergency, a vacation, activities for the kids. Everything has to come from that tiny slice. The margin for error is zero.
And this is what that life actually feels like. It's that constant, low-level anxiety. It's lying awake at 2 a.m. doing math in your head. It's checking your bank account before you go to the grocery store. It's feeling like you are one flat tire, one sick kid, one broken appliance away from total disaster. It's not just about the money, it's the mental weight of it, every single day.
So, how did we even get here? Why is this happening? Let's zoom out for a second, because this is not about individual failure. This is about a system that has become completely disconnected from the financial reality of most normal people.
This chart right here, this is everything. Since 1990, the median price for a house has exploded by around 400%. In that exact same time period, median household income, it's gone up about 180%. Home prices have gone up more than twice as fast as our paychecks. The math just doesn't work anymore. It's that simple.
And you want to know the really insidious part? The whole system is designed to get you into the house. It's not designed to make sure you can actually thrive there. The real estate agent needs the sale for their commission. The bank needs to write the loan. There is no one in that entire transaction whose job it is to tell you, hey, wait a minute, you're about to financially drown.
So what do you do? What can you possibly do when the whole game feels rigged against you? Well, maybe you have to change the rules. It's time to talk about redefining what it actually means to win and taking back control.
Because here is the ultimate takeaway. Real wealth is not just owning something, it's freedom. It's having some breathing room in your budget. It's the ability to sleep through the night without that pit of financial anxiety in your stomach. That peace of mind is so much more valuable than having a bunch of equity in a house that's trapping you.
So I'm going to leave you with this final question to really think about. The bank might say yes. They might approve you for the loan. But is the house you're approved for the house that will actually truly improve your life? Running the honest numbers, just like we did here, is the only way to find the real answer to that question.